All right, today we're jumping into something that can be, well, pretty scary. Heart palpitations. We're going to figure out what's really going on when your heart feels like it's got a mind of its own. Have you ever had that? You're just, going about your day and bam, you're suddenly so aware of your own heartbeat. It feels like it's fluttering or pounding, maybe even racing. It can really freak you out for sure. So what is actually happening inside our bodies at that moment? Okay, so first things first, let's get on the same page. Heart palpitations, that's not actually a diagnosis. It's just the name we give to that feeling. The sensation that your heart is doing something weird. And this is maybe the most important thing to get right from the start. Even though it feels super alarming, for a lot of people, especially if you're dealing with chronic stress or a condition like POTS, this usually isn't about your heart being damaged. It's about its control system being a little sensitive. So to get a handle on that control system, it's called the autonomic nervous system. We've got a peek behind the curtain. And honestly, the easiest way to think about it is this. Your body has its very own gas pedal and a brake. Yeah, check this out. It makes a really complex system seem pretty simple, right? On one side, you've got the accelerator. That's your sympathetic nervous system. Think fight or flight. And on the other side, you've got the brake, your parasympathetic system. That's for rest and digest. When everything's working right, your body just smoothly switches between the two. But when that system gets a little out of whack, the balance is gone. It's like the accelerator gets stuck to the floor, or maybe the brake just feels kind of weak. And what's the result? Your heart rate can just surge out of nowhere for seemingly no good reason. Okay, so that's the million-dollar question, right? Why is the system overreacting like this? What's actually pushing that gas pedal down so hard? Let's dive in and break down the triggers. All right, trigger number one. For someone with a condition like POTS, it can be something as simple as standing up. Seriously. Gravity pulls blood down to their feet, and the body's response is, whoa, gotta get blood back to the brain. So the heart just starts revving its engine, beating super fast. That's called tachycardia, and it feels just like those intense racing palpitations. And then you've got the chemical trigger, good old adrenaline. Your brain's alarm system, the limbic system, senses stress, and it doesn't really care if it's a real threat or just a stressful thought. It just smashes the panic button. That floods your system with adrenaline, which is basically an instant command to your heart. Beat faster, beat harder, now. And this is what happens over time. If you're getting these adrenaline surges a lot, your body kind of gets used to it. It gets conditioned to overreact, and that leaves your heart feeling constantly, on edge, like it's just waiting for the next thing to happen. But look, stress and circulation, they're big pieces of the puzzle, for sure, but they're not the whole story. There are some other key physiological things that can make the whole system extra sensitive. So here's a quick roadmap of where we're going next. We're going to look at breathing patterns, electrolyte balance, even your gut health, and your body's basic energy supply, and you'll see how it's all connected. Let's kick it off with breathing. It's something we don't even think about, right? But when we're stressed, we tend to take these short, shallow breaths. And that actually messes with our blood chemistry, lowering CO2, which is another signal that tells that accelerator system to kick into high gear. Okay, this next one is so critical. Hydration and minerals. Think about it. If you're dehydrated and your blood volume is low, your heart just has to pump harder to get the job done. And then you have electrolytes, sodium, potassium, magnesium. They're like the spark plugs for your heart's electrical wiring. If that mixes off, you can get misfires, and that's what you feel as a flutter or a skipped beat. Now, here's a connection that might totally surprise you. Your gut. Yep, there's basically a direct highway, the vagus nerve, that runs from your gut to your brain. So if your gut is inflamed or upset, it can send these little distress signals right up that highway, and those signals can mess with your heart rate. And last but not least, let's talk about fuel. Your heart is an absolute energy hog. It's one of the hardest working muscles you've got. If its power supply is running low, if its cells aren't making enough energy, it just gets more sensitive. It gets more easily knocked off balance by all these other things we've been talking about. Okay, so we've looked at 6 different triggers, right? From how you're standing to what's going on in your gut. They seem totally unrelated, but there is one powerful idea, a common thread that ties every single one of them together. It doesn't matter if the trigger is physical, chemical, or even emotional. When you get right down to it, the root cause of the palpitations is always the same thing. And this is it. This is the big idea. Your body is simply overcompensating to keep things stable. That palpitation? It's not your heart failing. It's a sign that your body is working incredibly hard to keep everything in balance. especially making sure your brain has what it needs.
And when you see it that way, it changes everything, doesn't it? The goal isn't to fix a broken heart. It's to support a system that's under a ton of stress. So how do we actually do that? What's the path to getting that balance back?
Well, the path forward is all about tackling those root issues we just covered. It's about calming down that overactive alarm system in the brain. It's about making sure your body has the right building blocks, like water and minerals. And it's about actively strengthening that parasympathetic brake to bring the whole system back into balance.
You know, this quote just says it all so perfectly. Heart palpitations are your body's way of saying, I'm working hard to find balance. With the right support, it can learn to steady its rhythm again. So please let that be the thing you walk away with today. That fluttery feeling, it's not a sign you're failing. It's a call for support. It's your body inviting you to listen a little closer and give it what it's asking for. So the next time you feel that flutter, instead of that knee-jerk reaction of, oh no, what's wrong with me, try asking a different question. Try asking this one. What is my body trying to tell me?